ज्ञानाञ्जना शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Tuesday and the Thursday series on the second part, Vaishnav Ninda, a contemporary study which we are doing. How do we understand this in our today's context? Especially in the last few discussions what we had, we covered many of the themes. We had quite an elaborate discussion of how criticism is born from envy, a definitive analysis. And we had many classes on this, and especially we did critical analysis from the Bhagavad Gita. So this was one theme which we discussed quite in detail. And in the last class, we also discussed qualities of one who's free from envy. So few of the verses from the Gita, Bhagavad, we dealt, which clearly indicate whether we have these qualities. If we don't have these qualities, then still there is deep-rooted envy which we need to work on. Now, the next theme is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's deliverance of criticizers and his instructions. So we will be seeing some pastimes from the Chaitanya Bhagavat. And these pastimes are just 500 years old. This happened during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time. And the lessons from these pastimes are very important for us, which are applicable even today. So how do we take the lessons from these pastimes? What we learn from these pastimes? From that perspective, we will be seeing these pastimes. So the first one, which we will be discussing, we'll begin the discussion today from the Chaitanya Bhagavat, is from the Adi Kanda, chapter 16, the glories of Srila Haridas Thakur. So, in this 16th chapter, if you see, the entire life of Haridas Thakur is spoken, and especially these are the pastimes of Haridas Thakur before he joins the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began his Sankirtan movement. So there are, in this section, in chapter 16, there are 5 important pastimes which bring out how it is because of being envious of Haridas Thakur, these people committed offenses to him, and what was the result of all that. So there are these 5 pastimes. The main is the Qazi's punishment, that is Haridas Thakur is beaten in 22 marketplaces. This is a well-known famous pastime which is quite elaborately discussed in Chaitanya Bhagavat. But the most important is, what is Haridas' reasoning of his punishment, why he was punished. So that is a beautiful lesson which we will be taking from this. So these are the 2 main pastimes. Then after this incident, then Haridas starts living in a cave, and then there's a poisonous snake. And what is the purport of that pastime also we will see. And then there is the snake charmer pastime, and there also there is very important lessons. And the last pastime which is mentioned in this chapter is the Brahmana's offense to Sri Haridas Thakur. So I will not go into the verse by verse, but I'll just be narrating in the form of a story. And wherever there is some specific verse where there is some important point which Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has mentioned with respect to Vaishnava Ninda or criticism, that points I will highlight and I will be discussing. So that's how we will be studying this whole section, the last section especially. So in the first few verses, text 1 to 3, he offers Mangalacharan, Vrindavan Das Thakur. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat is one of the first compositions on the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Vyas Avatar is Vrindavan Das Thakur, who glorifies these pastimes. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had written a commentary on this. And this commentary is today translated, and the pastimes are available in 7 volumes. So it is also available in the Veda base also. So I'll just read these verses, and whichever verses where there is some emphasis, there I will be highlighting. All glories to Gaur Sundar, the friend of poor, Deen Bandhu. All glories to Supreme Lord, the beloved of Lakshmi. Jaya Jaya Lakshmikanta, Sabara Ishwar. Jaya Jaya Bhakta Raksha Hetu Avatar. Jaya Sarva Kala Satya Kirtana Vihar. All glories to the Lord who incarnated to protect his devotees. Bhakta Raksha Hetu Avatar. All glories to him who enjoys the chanting of the holy names and who is eternal absolute truth. Satya Kirtan Vihar. Then, the third verse is also Mangalacharan. Bhakta Goshti Sahite Gauranga Jaya Jaya Shunile Chaitanya Kata Bhakta Lama Hoy. So what is the phala of hearing this? All glories to Gaurang and his associates. By hearing the topics of Lord Chaitanya, one attains devotional service to the Lord. So this is the phala, this is the Ashirvad. And then he begins that in the Adikanda, there is nectar which is flowing in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in this way, the Lord of Vaikuntha continued teaching as a householder. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not inaugurate the Sankirtan movement until he went to Gaya and met his spiritual master. So his pastimes prior to all that, as a householder, all are narrated quite in detail in Chaitanya Bhagavat. The Lord incarnated to distribute love and devotion, but by his supreme will, he had not yet begun. So that is why the Lord is independent and his supreme will is absolute and he is independent. Swarat, Abhigya and Swarat. And what was the condition of Navdeep that time? The entire world was devoid of spiritual practice and everyone was attached to sense gratification. Those who recited Gita and Bhagavad also never engaged in Sankirtan. So those who were some who exhibited to teach Gita and Bhagavad, they were studying these devotional scriptures, but they never engaged in congregational chanting, nor did they realize that such chanting was the only purport of the devotional scriptures, nor did they induce others to engage in the congregational chanting. So this was the situation in Navdeep. The devotees performed kirtan among themselves while simply clapping their hands. So those who were genuine devotees that time, they just performed kirtan among themselves. And the people criticized them. So here you can see again the criticism. Why they are chanting so loudly? So what is the reason? And what is their logic? The Navdeepvasis who were atheists, who were not taking part in the congregation chanting the Ego Dharma, what was their logic? I am Supreme Brahman. Within me sits the absolute truth. So where is the difference between master and servant? So this was Mayavad philosophy. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has written a 5-page commentary quoting all the verses of the Upanishads to show the difference between the Jiva and the Lord. It's a long commentary he has written. Very heavy commentary to defeat this. So the materialist said, they chant loudly the name of Hari to attract attention for collecting alms. Oh, this is the reason. So this is how they were criticizing the genuine devotees. The people of Nadia met together and decided, let us break their doors and houses. So because these devotees were doing kirtan, so this was their conclusion. Hearing this, now hearing these criticism of the materialists, the Vaishnavas, all the devotees felt great distress. They could not find anyone qualified to speak with. So this was the situation in Navdeep. The devotees saw the entire world as devoid of devotional service, so they prayed to Krishna in great distress. So this was the distress the devotees in Navdeep were feeling. And whenever the devotee is despondent or he is in distress and he cries out, it is a principle that Krishna sends his devotees. We see in the pastime of even Vyasdev, after compiling the Vedanta Sutra, also his heart was dissatisfied, and immediately Narad Muni arrived. So similarly, when the Navdeepasis were distressed, Hena Kale, at that time, Haridas Thakur arrived in Navdeep. So Krishna sent Haridas Thakur. He was a personification of pure devotion to Lord Vishnu. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also says, when pure devotees are lamenting in the absence of pure devotional service throughout the entire country, at that time, by the will of Krishna, Haridas Thakur appeared in Sri Navdeep, Mayapur. So when Haridas Thakur appeared, what happened? Sorry, that went back. Haridas Thakur appeared. Now, Vrindavan Das Thakur says, Ebe shuno Haridas Thakur kata, Yahar Shravana Krishna Paive Sarvata. So this is the fun. Now Haridas Thakur appeared here. He is going to narrate the pastimes of Haridas Thakur. Ebe shuno Haridas Thakur kata. Please hear the topics of Srila Haridas Thakur. Yahar Shravan, by hearing this narration, one certainly attains Krishna. This is the Shruti Fal. So we should attentively hear the Haridas Thakur Katha. Now he begins by saying that Haridas Thakur was born in Budana. Budana is a province in today East Bengal, that is Bangladesh. And This is near Jessore district. Somehow I had the good fortune to visit this place where Haridas Thakur had appeared. So he had appeared in a Mohammedan family in the village of Budan within the district Jessore. Jessore district is there in Bangladesh. And Sei Bhagya, Sei Sab Deshe Kirtana Prakash. And because he was born there, the result was that that province was filled with Kirtan even today. So even today, if you go to that Jessore district, that entire area you can find Vaishnavas who are, sitting in their secluded places and chanting the holy names. So that is the greatness of a Mahabhagavat who is born in a particular place. That entire place gets purified and people can take up to devotional service. Haridas Thakur resided there for some time and he came on the bank of Ganges at Fulia near Shantipur. So from Budan it is, I think it is, Budan. From there, Haridas Thakur, by the Lord's arrangement, came to Fulia. Fulia Gram is very close to Shantipur. And he started living in Shantipur. So by his association, Advaita Acharya also got his association of Haridas Thakur, and the two Mahabhagavats were filled with ecstasy. Both of them were in the waves of ecstasy of Krishna consciousness, discussing Krishna Katha. And Haridas Thakur used to wander on the bank of Ganges and loudly chant the holy names. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur quotes the 9 symptoms of Bhava Bhakti, and also from the Bhagavatam, Navayogendra is what they say. And he was completely renounced, and his mouth was always beautified by the chanting of the holy name. And he did not give chanting of the names of Govinda even from a moment. And he was constantly manifesting ecstatic symptoms. Sometimes he danced, sometimes he roared like a mad lion. Sometimes he cried, sometimes he laughed. So this is the sign of madness. Mad we have to become. Either we have to become mad of Maya or mad for Krishna. Choice is ours. And he rode, and sometimes he fell on the ground unconscious. And sometimes he used to utter some sounds, and later on he used to give some profound meanings to those sounds. And he, like that, manifested all ecstatic symptoms, the Ashta Satvika Vikar. So when he used to dance, all the Ashta Sattvic Vikars used to manifest in his body. And his whole body used to become wet because of tears of love of Godhead. And this was the effect. Even staunch atheists would offer him respect. Now here the climax is going to begin now. Now this was the glory of Haridas Thakur, that he was situated in divine Unmad. Unmad it is called. It is divine madness in love of Godhead. And he was exhibiting all these symptoms. And the effect was that staunch atheist also would offer him respects. And not only that, even Brahma and Shiva were satisfied seeing the various manifestations which were appearing on the body of Haridas Thakur. The Brahmanas of Fulia are also overwhelmed upon seeing Haridas Thakur, because Haridas Thakur's heart was filled with ecstatic manifestations, and that effect, used to reflect in their hearts, and they also used to become happy. So when Haridas Thakur was staying like this in Fulia, everyone there developed faith in him. He would regularly take bath in the Ganga and loudly chant while wandering on the Ganga. Now, when this thing was happening, because the Qazi is like the district administrator in the Muslim Nawab kings that time, the Qazi was like the district head there. So because the Qazi was the head there and everyone should respect him. But he saw that everyone was respecting Haridas Thakur. So that is why he became envious. Now, this is the first lesson we can see from the pastime of Haridas Thakur, that how this envy manifests in us also, especially when we see in the association of devotees, a particular devotee, because of his devotional qualities, is respected by other devotees and all devotees. And when we don't get that respect, or we don't want to give respect to them, why everyone is giving respect to him? Why are they not giving respect to me? When this kind of thing comes in, it is because of envy. This is an anartha. Those who are at the stage of Nishta and above, those who have cultivated genuine humility, they are what? Trunadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishna. Amanina manadena. Amanina manadena. They don't expect any honor for themselves and they offer respect to others. But the opposite is of the conditioned soul, that they accept everyone should give respect to me and they don't want to give respect to anyone. So the Chand Kazi here, not the Chand Kazi, sorry, he's a different Kazi, I think. He's not Chand Kazi. Chand Kazi is with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime. So the Kazi, became envious that Haridas Thakur is getting respect, and he went and complained to the king. He's a Muslim, but he's following the Hindu religion. So the sinful king immediately called Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur did not even fear Yamraj, the king. Now, hearing that Haridas Thakur had gone to meet the king, all the pious people became morose. And then within the prison, there were respectful people. When they heard that Haridas Thakur has come to see the king, they became pleased at heart. So this is a very interesting pastime which is going to happen here. And this has also a lot of lessons which we will go in detail that time. Haridas was a great Vaishnava. By seeing him, our distress due to imprisonment will be vanquished. So this was what was the thought of those who were imprisoned by the king there. There were many respectable people who were imprisoned by the Qazi because they were taking the names of the Lord. So they were all imprisoned. Now Haridas Thakur also was called, and baby, before he went to see the king, he was imprisoned there in the prison house. And those respectful Vaishnavas who were also staying in the prison, they were very happy that now we are going to have darshan of this great Mahabhagavat Haridas Thakur. And by having this, his darshan, all our miseries will be diminished. Now, the prisoners tactfully persuaded the guards to let them see Haridas Thakur without disturbance. So all these prisoners told the guards, let us have darshan of Haridas Thakur. And they made this submissive request. When Haridas came there and saw the prisoners, he glanced mercifully upon them. So all the prisoners came and Haridas Thakur just glanced at them. Darshane pavitra karo, ei tumar gaun. Seeing the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur, all the prisoners offered obeisances to him. So they offered obeisances. Now Haridas Thakur's bodily features are mentioned. Haridas Thakur's hands reached his knees. His eyes were like lotus petals, and his enchanting moon-like face was beyond compare. Everyone devotedly offered obeisance to him. Ecstatic devotional symptoms manifested in their bodies. So this is also a lakshan of a Mahabhagavat, that any new person who comes in touch with him, he can also experience some ecstatic emotions. This is not because that he has bhava bhakti, but the pure prema bhakti reflects in their hearts, and they might just experience a few emotions. This is not rati, but it is abhas, just a shadow or a dim reflection they can experience. So all the prisoners also experience this. Haridas Thakur saw the prisoners' devotions and he mercifully smiled at them. And he gave a ambiguous blessing. Thako, thako, ekana, ache hai hai, enarupa. Gupta Ashirvad Kari Hasena Kautuka. With a curious smile, Hasena Kautika, Haridas Thakur gave them an ambiguous blessing. Gupta Ashirvad. What? Thako, thaka. Thaka, thaka means thaka. Stay here. Stay here. Stay as you are now. Ekana achen enarupa. Now, this is interesting. Unable to understand his equivocal words, the prisoners felt morose. What is this Haridas Thakur giving a blessing? Stay here in the prison? So they did not understand the blessing of Haridas Thakur. Now, shortly after, however, Haridas mercifully explained the meaning of his mysterious blessing. Gupta Ashirvad Kahe Kariya Prakash. So he gave the blessing. Now this we will go little verse by verse because it is very important now we understand there is a lot of lessons to be drawn here in this discussion. So we'll go little by verse by verse. Ami toma sabara e kailuno ashirvad tara artha na bujya bhavaha vishad. You have not understood the meaning of the blessings. Na bujya. Whatever Ashirvad I gave, Ami Toma Sabara Kaila Ashirvad, and therefore you are lamenting. Na Bujila Bhavinu Vishad. Vishad means you are lamenting. So you are lamenting because you don't understand my blessing. Manda Ashirvad Ami Kakon na kari Manadiya Sabe Iha Bujaha Vichar. I never award inauspicious benedictions. Manda Ashirvad. Carefully try to understand as I explain. Manadiya Sabe. Carefully hear as I explain. Bhujiya Vichar. So let us see what Haridas Thakur gives the explanation. Eve Krishna Prati Toma Sabakara Mana Hena Che E Mata Thako Sarvakshana. As your minds are presently fixed on Krishna, Eve Krishna Pratitoma Sabakara Mano, because now you are in this jail, you are in this condition, and now you are able to take fully shelter of Krishna because you are in this condition, distress condition. Your mind is now fixed in Krishna. Hena Ache E Mate Thako Sarvashana. Let them stay that. Let them stay that way forever. So let it stay like this forever. That is his blessing. So here the explanation is very, very interesting given by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Haridas Thakur said to the prisoners, your present state of mind is auspicious for you because you have received the opportunity to cultivate Krishna consciousness by giving up endeavors for material enjoyment. Now, you can see here that they are prisoners now. There is no question of any material enjoyment there in that condition. And their state of mind is fixed in Krishna. Therefore, always remain engaged in chanting Krishna's name and in remembering Krishna. If you get freedom from prison life and again indulge in sense gratification, then as a result of associating with wicked persons who are averse to the Lord, you will forget the Supreme Lord. So because once you come out of the jail, you might indulge in sense gratification. And sense gratification means you have to associate with those people who are engaged in sense gratification. So then you will be in a satsang, and then you will forget Krishna. Now, this is a very important statement. As long as endeavor for material enjoyment is prominent in the living entity, there is no possibility for him to worship Krishna. The goal of material enjoys is diametrically opposite to Krishna. The conditioned souls who are devoid of devotional service to Krishna are always merged in topics related to their wives and children, who are the center of their enjoyment. If, by the mercy of the Lord, a person in this dangerous situation meets a saintly person, his taste for material enjoyment will be turned into a taste for the service to the Supreme Lord. When one gives up the cultivation of Krishna consciousness, then his natural material propensities will submerge him in the mire of offenses. So this is a very important point Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is making. So when we are cultivating, one gives up cultivation of Krishna consciousness, so what naturally is offenses. This is a very important observation which even I have, that when devotees in the association of Vaishnavas start criticizing Vaishnavas, what happens is they don't cultivate Krishna consciousness. They lose the taste for cultivating Krishna conscious activities. And slowly they give up the practices of Krishna consciousness and leave the association of devotees. And this is because of offenses. The only reason one leaves the association of devotees and goes back to material life is because of offenses. It's because of aparadhs. So that is why we should be very, very careful about it. Now further, what Haridas Thakur's benediction is, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying, I do not mean that you remain suffering within this prison, but in your present condition, you have an opportunity to constantly chant the holy names of the Lord. Therefore, do not be distressed. The Vaishnavas always bless all living entities with the words, may your devotion to the Supreme Lord be fixed. Krishne matir astu. So this is what exactly Mahaprabhu is to give benediction to everyone. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya first time had darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had the darshan of Jagannath, and he collapsed there. So the guard was supposed to come and beat him, but Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya stopped because he had a very great post there. He was well recognized personality. So through his servants, disciples, he carried him to his own home, and there he understood that these manifestations, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going through, is not possible for ordinary conditioned soul. But yet he could not understand that he is the Supreme Lord. But later on, Gopinath Acharya and all, Nityanand Prabhu, Mukunda all came, and they loudly did the Ucha Nam Sankirtan. Mahaprabhu came back to consciousness. And that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya offered obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying, Om Namo Narayana. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed Krishna Matir Astu to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So this is the Vaishnavas, this is an important lesson we should also have. I consider this the greatest mercy towards the living entities. Krishna Matir Asti. Your prison life will soon be finished. Never give up the determination of serving the Supreme Lord in any condition. So this is the meaning of Haridas Thakur's blessing. Now he will clarify that. Hebe nitya Krishna nam Krishnera chintan seve mili karite thakana anukshan Now you can all together constantly chant the names of Krishna and think of Krishna. Ebe himsa nahi, nahi prajara pidan, Krishna boli ka ku vade kare chintan. Here you have no envy or trouble from others. So you can humbly chant and think of Krishna. Ebe himsa nahi, nahi prajara pidan. There's no trouble from others and there's no envy. So you can humbly chant and think of Krishna. So this situation is good for you. Arabhara gya vishete pravartila sabe iha pasharbi gele dushtamila mele. Otherwise, if you again return to material enjoyment by bad association, you will forget everything about Krishna. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur mentioned that purport. One cannot achieve love for Krishna as long as he is engaged in sense gratification. You should know for certain that Krishna is far away from such persons. The mind that is absorbed in material enjoyment is a great disturbance. Vishaya avishta mana badai janjal. Attachment for wife and children are the binding ropes of illusion that lead one to death. Stri putra maya jala, ei sava kal. If by providence a fortunate person so achieves the association of devotee, daiva kono bhagyavan sadhu sangapai, he gives up his attachment for material enjoyment and worships Krishna. Vishaya avesh chadi Krishnera bhajya. In conclusion, Kathasar, Shuno Kathasar, the nature of material enjoyment is that one makes the same mistake again and again. Vishera dharma. Vishera dharma is what? That one makes the mistake again and again. So although we know that sense gratification is a source of misery, yahi samsparsha jab hoga, dukkha yona evate, adhyantavanta kaunteya, na teshu ramate buddha. But yet we engage sometimes in too much overeating, we suffer the distress, but yet we commit the mistake again and again, because that is the Vishaya dharma. Similarly, we commit aparadh sometimes and we suffer distress because of committing that aparadh. And we realize it, we all beg forgiveness and we continue our devotional size, but still again we commit many times aparadh. So we commit the same mistake again and again. That is the conclusion he's saying. The nature of material enjoyment is there, and the nature of also Vaishnava aparadh that we commit again and again. Bandi thake hena ashirvad nahi kari, vishayara pasara ahar nishi balahari. Therefore, I did not mean stay there in prison, but rather stay free from thoughts of material enjoyment and always chant the name of Hari. So that was the Gupta Ashirvad Haridas Thakur gave to the prisoners. So here is a very important lesson from this pastime, that especially it is our experience that devotees who are in distressful condition or they are having some disease and they have some physical ailments, like somebody is on a stretcher throughout his life and he is able to take up to devotional life. He is in that kind of a situation. He will take shelter of the holy name, but he is very, very much protected, because being put in that situation, it acts like a avarna, a protecting fence, where he understands his own situation and he doesn't commit Vaishnava aparadh at all. And he is one who is sure going to get Krishna's mercy and ultimately attain Krishna Prem. So this is one example I'm explaining of somebody who is having some physical ailment. Recently, I saw a video of some person who has no fingers. He's lost both his uh, uh, hands. So both his hands are cut. So he has no fingers to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But with the hands itself, keeping the beads, he is able to roll it and he's chanting and he's on a stretcher. And I was thinking of the good fortune. He'll be in this condition. He'll just nirantar take Krishna. He will never commit offenses to Vaishnavas because his own condition he can experience. He'll get prasadam. It will come to him. He'll just have simple prasadam. He will be free because of his health condition. He will be free from the desires for sense enjoyment because his body doesn't allow, his health doesn't allow. In that condition, when somebody is there, it is such a favorable condition for Nirantar Krishna, and you can stay in that condition and ultimately attain Krishna's mercy and ultimately go back to Godhead. But especially now, we should not pray that these kind of conditions happen to devotees, but Daiva, if it happens also, that is a great fortune. We should see like that. Sometimes, even in Vaishnava families, devotees families, many children are born with some serious disease. And the parents are extremely distressed about it, why that our children are born like this. But if we see that everything is happening by Krishna's arrangement and how the soul has come in this body, and now somehow if we facilitate that soul's Krishna consciousness, then ultimately maybe that soul has come for few years to be in that body, ultimately to perfect their life, and we assist them, then it is the perfection of that soul. So for us, we should see these events from a very spiritual angle, these kind of events. There are many devotees whom I know for many years, they might be suffering from a particular disease for many, many years, and they continue to practice the Krishna consciousness. And because they themselves are in this condition, in that sense, there is minimum chance of committing Vaishnava aparadh. But when we are in good health, we are strong, then there is chance of material sense gratification, and then there is chance of asatsang, there is chance of aparadh, which can take us away from the association of devotees and make us bereft of this Krishna Prem. So this is the important lesson we we can understand from this pastime of Chaitanya Haridas Thakur and the prisoners, what happens. Do not even slightly lament that I gave you this blessing in an unambiguous way. I glanced mercifully to all living entities. Sarva Jiva Prati Daya Darshan Amar. May you all have firm devotion to Lord Krishna. Krishna Drida Bhakti Hauko Tumara Sabakar. Chinta Nahi Dina Dui Tiner Bitare Bandana Guchibe E Kahilunu Tumar. Don't worry, I guarantee that within 2 or 3 days you will be freed. Vishete Thak, Kiba Thak, Yata Thata, E Buddhi Kavu, Na Parashiya Sarvata. Whether you are a householder or an insect, whatever you are, don't forget these instructions at any cost. So this is I think this is the only pastime within the life of Haridas Thakur where he's actually giving instructions. This is the only place you will find Haridas Thakur giving instructions. And these instructions are very deep, which have to be meditated and practically applied in our life. So especially these beginning from text 55 to text 65 and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's commentary. So after this, after offering the prisoners his best wishes, Haridas Thakur went before the king. So now Haridas Thakur, actually his purpose, we can see how Krishna arranges his pastimes with his devotees, that the Qazi was envious, so he arrested Haridas, and now he is being produced before the king, but he is also imprisoned. But there, those who are prisoners, Haridas Thakur delivers them. So that was also the higher reason why Haridas Thakur was arrested. So Haridas Thakur comes now before the king, seeing the brilliant effulgence. The king also becomes respectful and offers him a seat. And the king personally inquired, "My dear brother, why have you such a mentality? You're fortunate to be born as a Muslim. Then why have you taken practices of a Hindu?" And he says, the king says, "We don't even eat rice that is touched by the Hindus. So why are you degrading yourself?" So they eat meat and they think they are pure. So this is how their logic is. So they don't eat rice, which is touched by Hindus. And you are born in a high family, Muslim family. You are transgressing your caste and religion and following the religions of others. How will you attain salvation? Whatever sinful activities you unknowingly performed can be cleared by uttering kalma. Kalma means, I accept the Quran, I accept teachings of Muslim. So this is how the king respectfully spoke to Haridas. After hearing this, hearing the king, "Ano Vishnu Maya," see the Vishnu Maya. Haridas Thakur laughed. How Vishnu Maya acts, he said. And then Haridas Thakur sweetly started speaking to the king that the Lord is one. There is no Hindu and there is no Hindu God and Muslim God. And according to spiritual vision, the Lord is one. This is also confirmed in all Puranas and the Vedas, that the Lord is one. There is that only one eternal, Advaya, inexhaustible Lord who sits in the heart of everyone. And he induces everyone to work in a particular way. And the entire world is also acting accordingly. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur quotes Ishwara Sarva Bhutanam Riddeshya Arjuna Tushtati Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantrudani Maya. And all the names and qualities of the Lord are chanted everywhere by everyone according to their respective scriptural injunctions. And that Supreme Lord accepts the devotion of everyone. But if anyone is envious of his children, then he retaliates. So this is another important point here. It comes out now. Here is a very interesting purport. Lord Janardhan, who is Bhavagrahi, appreciative of one's sentiments, is served by everyone according to their respective moods. If a person rejects or envies the mood of another, then such feelings are actually targeted towards Supreme Lord. Now, this is a very important lesson or a principle which we should see. If we envy the other Vaishnavas, it reflects that we envy Krishna. If we reject the materialist, within the materialist heart is also Krishna, who is inspiring them to do material activities. So if we reject them also, then it is actually such feelings are targeted to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, a living entity should never envy other living entities. So this is a very important principle which we should learn from this statement of Bhaktisiddhanta. Now, another important point. If one tries to uproot and convert the internal mood of another person into that of his own narrow-mindedness, then the result will be not only criticism of another's religion, but enviness of the Supreme Lord, who is the goal of all religion. So various people in this world are following different religions according to what the Lord has inspired them. And if we try to uproot and convert their internal mood, then that will be our narrow-mindedness, and it is only criticism of that religion. We'll criticize that religion, and ultimately it is what? Criticism of the Lord, because Lord only has given these all different religions. So this is a very important, again, a principle which we should understand. That is why if you see, if you go through many of the conversations which Prabhupada had in the Western world with the Christians, missionaries, Prabhupada encouraged them to follow their religion, but to ultimately come to the point of developing love for God. If you come to this point of developing love of God, then that religion is perfect. So he never criticized Christianity or any other religion like that. And we are able to, propagate that from the Bhagavad perspective. So if you like it, you can adopt it. Savay pumsam paro dharma yato bhaktir adevapshaje ahetuki apratihata yayatma suprasthi. So this was the thrust which Prabhupada, if you see, in many of the conversations, he put forth. Now, it is my observation, especially in India, that many devotees sometimes have a little negative attitude about other religions, and they express it also. So this is not so healthy, and we should be careful about it. Service and envy directed to the Supreme Lord are two separate matters. If one misidentifies envy as service to the Supreme Lord, then he will be opposed to the service of the Supreme Lord and ultimately become envious of the devotees. When a living entity becomes devoid of loving service to the Lord, he becomes sometimes a sense-changer, sometimes a fruity worker, sometimes an impersonalist, sometimes an hatavagi, sometimes a rajogi. To engage such persons in the service of Lord Mukund for their eternal benefit is not an act or a form of envy. Rather, inducing such persons to engage in activities of sense gratification instead of the service of the Lord is to give indulgence to envious activities and therefore must be given up. So this is another important point. To engage people in the service of Mukunda is not envy, but if you engage people in material activities, that means they are trying to become enjoyers. They are trying to compete with Krishna. And this kind of indulgence is envious activities. If somebody is trying to enjoy this world, he is trying to compete with Krishna. So this kind of thing should be given up. So if you have any questions, you can always raise your hands in the discussion wherever we are discussing about the lessons. And then this is how he says, therefore I am acting under the inspiration of the Supreme Lord. Thakur quotes Tesham Satati. By his own desire, a Hindu Brahmana may also become a Muslim. What can the Hindus do? That is his karma. If one is already dead, then what is the use of killing him? Dear sir, now you can judge. If I am at fault, you can punish me. So hearing this Haridas Thakur statements, the Muslims were satisfied. But the sinful Qazi instigated, punish him. He will create other miscreants. He will bring bad name to the Muslim community. Therefore, punish him in an exemplary way and at least make him recite the confession from the Quran. Then the king requested Haridas, oh brother, just recite the confession from the Quran and you will have nothing to worry about. Otherwise, the sinful Qazis will punish you. You will be forced to recite the Quran anyway. In this way, you will be humiliated. So this is, the kind of torture you will be given. Haridas said, Haridas' statement is so bold, with so deep conviction. One cannot do anything other than what the Supreme Lord desires. Know for certain that the Lord awards the result of one's offenses. अपराध अनुरूप यारा है फल ईश्वर से करे इहा जानी केवल. So the result of the offenses also is given by the Lord. This is which Haridas Thakur says, Khanda Khanda hoy deha ya yadi pran tabu ami vadane na chadi harinam. Even if my body is cut into pieces, I will give up my life. I will never give up the chanting of the Lord's holy name. So that was how his conviction was. Hearing the statement of Haridas Thakur, the king asked Qazi what to do with him. The Qazi replied, he should be beaten in 22 marketplaces. Take his life in this way. That is my opinion. If he survives being beaten in the 22 marketplaces, then we will understand he's actually knowledgeable and his words are true. So this was the punishment meted to Haridas Thakur. The Qazi then called the guards and sternly ordered, beat him in such way that he will die. If a Muslim follows the Hindu religion, who follows the Hindu religion is killed, then he will be delivered from that sin. So this is, their logic, completely opposite logic. Then, instigated by the words of the sinful Qazi, the sinful king gave orders and the miscreant guards arrested Haridas. Now, from here, the pastime, I'll just narrate in the form of a story. So, the guards took him to a place, the marketplace, and started beating Haridas Thakur. And Haridas Thakur did not feel any pain because he was constantly chanting the Lord's name in ecstasy. He was experiencing such transcendental bliss in chanting the Lord's name that he was completely oblivious to the pain what his body was going through. That was one. And just like Prahlad was inflicted so much misery, but because he was situated in transcendental consciousness, Krishna protected him. Similarly, Haridas Thakur was protected by the Lord. And they started beating him from one marketplace to another marketplace. All the people requested, please don't do this. There will be calamity. There will be calamity in this village. It will cause such a Mahabhagat if you punish him. It will cause distress. The entire kingdom will be destroyed because you're torturing such a person. Some people started cursing the king and the Qazi, and some people went to fight with these guards who were trying to beat him. Some people fell at the feet of these Muslim guards and they said, I will give you some money. Please don't beat him so hard. Nevertheless, the sinful guards started showing no mercy and angrily started beating Haridas Thakur from market to market. Haridas Thakur did not feel any pain. And as I was explaining how Prahlad did not go through any misery, similarly Haridas Thakur did not go through any pain. And that time, Haridas Thakur felt compassion for these guards who were engaged in beating, and he started praying for them. O Krishna, be merciful on these living entities, forgive their offenses for torturing me. Now, why did Haridas Thakur pray to these guards? Because these guards were doing an aparad to a Vaishnava, especially the most severe of the Hanti. Hanti means to try to kill a Vaishnava, try to harm a Vaishnava, try to beat a Vaishnava. And the result of this aparad would that Krishna would, completely destroy these guards. So Haridas Thakur did not want these guards to face the suffering of Krishna's punishment. And that is why Haridas Thakur started praying to Krishna to forgive these guards. And it was said that these guards were expert in punishing. Within 1 or 2 marketplaces, the person would give up his life and he used to die. But the guards saw that the more Haridas Thakur was beaten, the more they were getting tired, but Haridas Thakur was in bliss and ecstasy. They were astonished. Can a human being survive such a beating? And then they started worrying. They thought if he does not die, then what will happen? We will be punished by the Qazi and we will be killed. So this was their thought process. And Haridas Thakur understood that. So Haridas Thakur, what did he do? He just went into Samadhi. He just went into Samadhi and they thought now he's dead. So the guards carried Haridas Thakur to the king. So the king ordered, bury him. But the Qazi said, no, if you bury him, people will still worship him. He'll get a higher destination. Best is to throw his body in the Ganges. Let him suffer in his next birth also. So they had this concept of reincarnation, even during those times. So Haridas Thakur's body was taken to the Ganges. And there, Vishwambar entered his body. So the body became so heavy that they could not carry. And they just left the body there and the body started floating in the Ganges. And from there, Haridas Thakur was in his internal consciousness. He came back to external consciousness by his mystic powers and he just walked from the Ganges back, chanting the holy names, and straight away came towards the king. Then the king could understand the glories of Haridas Thakur. He fell down at the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur and begged forgiveness for his offenses. Haridas Thakur forgave the king. And then the king said, now you're free. You can wander wherever you want and you can chant the holy names. Nobody is going to stop you. And this is the king spoke to Haridas Thakur. And then Haridas Thakur left. Now, because the guards had beaten very severely, they got the effects of Vaishnava Parad and all of them were destroyed, including their family members. So this is the pastime which is there in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Now, the next aspect is why did Haridas Thakur, being a pure devotee Mahabhagavat, go through this kind of a suffering? So after this, it is mentioned that Haridas Thakur, chanting like this, he entered back Fulyanagram, and in Fulyagram, he came in the association of the Brahmanas there, who were very favorable, who were also chanting. And there, Haridas Thakur offered his obeisances and he said, Krishna has been merciful upon me. Why? Because he just gave me a token of punishment for my offense of hearing blasphemy of Vaishnavas. Now, this is a very important lesson. Haridas Thakur did not hear any blasphemy of Vaishnavas. But this is a lesson which he is teaching us, those who imitate that we are Trunadapi Sunichena. And he explains specially about, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains specially about the Prakata Sahajya Sampradaya. The Prakata Sahajya Sampradaya, the Prakrita Sahajya Sampradaya, they hear the blasphemy of Krishna, the Vaishnavas, and in the name of Trunadapi Sunichena, they don't react. And in that way, they inflict misery upon themselves in the form of Vaishnava Prad. Similarly, Haridas Thakur, through his pastime, is teaching us Vaishnavas, devotees, that when there is blasphemy of Vishnu or Vaishnavas, one should not make a show of Trunadapi Sunichena. One should not show tolerance. one should immediately act. And if one shows tolerance and he hears blasphemy of Vishnu or Vaishnavas, then he suffers the reactions of it. He suffers the reactions of it. And Haridas Thakur suffered such a severe reaction, you can see, that he was beaten in 22 marketplaces. But again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enacted this pastime to show the tolerance of Haridas Thakur. So this is also an important lesson which we can learn. The reason why Haridas Thakur had to go through the suffering. The reason is, he says that I heard the blasphemy of Vaishnavas. And that's why Krishna gave a token of suffering for me. Actually, he had never heard the blasphemy, but he is teaching us that those who are Prakrita Vaishnavas, or those even in the Vaishnava circle who hear Ninda, Vaishnava Ninda or Bhagavad Ninda, if they in the name of Trunadapi don't react, then they also go through suffering. Srila Vishwanath Chandra Thakur, in his various works, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu commentary, in the Bhagavatam commentary also, mentions that devotees who take up to sadhana bhakti very quickly become free from kleshagni and they attain auspiciousness. And he says the reason the devotees suffer is because of aparadh. Is because of aparadh, he says. So the sufferings what devotees go through is mainly because of aparadh. So that's also the conclusion of Vishwanath Chandra Thakur. So this is how we have briefly today discussed these two pastimes. One is the Qazi's punishment to Haridas Thakur, and Srila Haridas Thakur's renewing of his punishment. So in the next class, we will discuss the other three pastimes and what are the lessons we have to learn from that. So any questions, any clarifications about this you have? Prashant Shanbhat Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Prabhu, is there any mention about what happened to those prisoners afterwards? That is one. Second question is, I heard Haridas Thakur is incarnation of Brahmaji. Is it Brahmaji or Vishnu?
Okay. Yeah. First is what happened to the prisoners. Definitely they were instructed by Haridas Thakur. They were freed, and being freed, because they followed the instructions of Haridas Thakur, they did not again fall into material sense gratification and thereby into asatsang and lose devotional service. That is definite, because they were blessed by Haridas Thakur. But what happened later on, it is not mentioned in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. But definitely these instructions are highly applicable to us, because we are also in this prison of material world, and being prisoned by the three modes because of these three kleshas, Adhyatmika, Adibhuta, Adidaiva, we can learn a lot of lessons from this pastime. That although we are in this prison, we are still, the desires for sense gratification are there, and how these, sense gratification can lead to asatsang, and then we can lose devotion. So that we can learn from that pastime. Secondly, yes, Haridas Thakur is Brahma Haridas, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. He's the incarnation of Brahma. And Lord Brahma committed a great Vaishnava aparadh, which is there in the Brahma Vimohan Leela. And Brahmaji considered, in fact, when Brahmaji offered his prayers, Krishna was carrying yogurt in his left hand, and he was still looking for his calves and cows and his friends, Gopas. And after Brahmaji finished his prayers, tears were coming from his 4 heads. So from his 8 eyes, all tears were coming, but Krishna just did not respond. He did not say anything. And just Krishna left the place. So Brahmaji said, I have committed a serious offense. So I'll have to it's all because I'm a Brahmana and I'm the topmost Brahmana in this universe. So let me take a birth in a low family and repent for my offense. So that is why Lord Krishna heard this prayers, and that is why Haridas Thakur was born in a low family. So this is also sometimes born in a niche kula keeps us humble. So these four things, Janma, Ishwar, Shruta, Shibir, Edamada, Madapuma, they cause pride. So being in this situation now, he did not commit any offenses, Haridas Thakur. So that's how we also can see from this pastime. Now, that is the understanding that definitely he is an incarnation of Brahma. Okay. Maya Narasimha Prabhuji has one question. We will take this last question and end up.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much for very inspiring discussion and explanation, Prabhu. Prabhuji, as you said that we should not tolerate Vaishnava Ninda and Vaishnava Aparadh. Sometimes it so happens when preacher speaks or some high leader speaks, sometimes he speaks something which is out of his own speculation, and he propagates some philosophy which is not being accepted by any other devotee, and we are happy to sit in that class. So that time there is always a boiling going on inside, that we wanted to speak, but at the same time we are afraid that it will become Vaishnava Aparadh. So in such circumstances, what we should do, Prabhuji?
I think these are specific cases. Maybe we'll have to have a later discussion one-to-one. If you can exactly narrate what exactly is the speculation, then we can speak. This is very generic, very general way.
For example, Prabhuji, somebody is speaking that one cannot have more than one Siksha Guru, and you cannot choose Guru. Guru will come in front of you, and whoever comes, you should accept. So some things which are like authoritative statements have been made, but there is no concrete supporting, nor any other devotees accepting such kind of statements or speaking like that.
Basically, the Shastras are very, very clear that you can have one Diksha Guru and many Shiksha Gurus. It's very clear. If you feel that it's not right, then you have to report it to your higher authorities, who are their authorities also, and that's the way you do your job and then leave it to rest. And best is to continue your course of Krishna consciousness based on Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra.
Just leave it. Get perturbed by that, and we should just leave it, because others are getting affected and they are being brainwashed into larger extent.
That's what I said. You'll have to report it to your higher authorities, who are also their authorities, and leave the matter to discuss to them. And you continue with your practices based on Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions anyone has? Okay. There is Birendra Yadav Prabhuji. Okay. Take this one. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandapunam. Yes. Prabhuji, I just could not follow this point on context of Trinadapi Sunichen. Sometimes we do Vaishnava Aparadh. What is this point?
Yes. So this is that's what this is little fine. That what Haridas Thakur explained the Brahmanas, that why I suffered, why Krishna gave me a token of punishment, is because I heard blasphemy of Vaishnavas. That is why I went through this suffering. Now Haridas Thakur is actually teaching, especially the Prakrit Sarjiyas, that they hear blasphemy of Vishnu or Vaishnavas, and they hear all this and they exhibit what? Tolerance to hearing all this. And actually this will lead to their suffering and miseries. So similarly, Vaishnavas also should not exhibit this fake Trunadapi Sunichena by hearing Vaishnava Ninda and tolerating and hearing it then these Vaishnavas also who hear it, they will suffer for it. Because whereas, what is the injunction of the Shastra? That one should immediately leave the place and not hear the blasphemy. Wherever there is, we saw those verses Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned, that wherever there is blasphemy of the Supreme Lord or the Vaishnavas, immediately there will be, other gata. There will be a very severe punishment. So we should act like fire there. That is exhibition of Trunadapi Sunicena. Whereas if we show that we are Trunadapi Sunicena and we hear all this, then we go through suffering in the form of hearing Vaishnava Aparadh. So that is the lesson what Haridas Thakur is bringing out from that pastime of saying that, because I heard blasphemy of Vaishnavas, I went through this suffering. So that's also devotees, when they go through this suffering, is because they hear blasphemy, or they themselves also blaspheme. That is the reason, and that's what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur also says. Is it clear? I hope it is clear now.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Fine. So we will stop here. In the next class, we will take the other 3 pastimes and what are the lessons we have to learn from.